When we think about the future, we often look to the West, but the real transformation has already begun. Only it's happening in the South, or more precisely, in the Southwest. Saudi Arabia is not just a country, it's the infrastructure of a new era. An economy worth trillions of dollars, no income tax. 30 years of tax holidays for international companies, a stable currency, low inflation, and most importantly, a government that invests, initiates, and builds. And gaming here is not just entertainment. It is a recognized priority. Officially, the gaming industry is included in the country's strategic development plan. Just think about it. $13.5 billion of GDP from gaming, 40,000 new jobs, 250 game studios, and 30 world-class games. And pay attention. $38 billion of investment in the industry through Savvy Games Group. This is not just government interest. This is maximum involvement. The government doesn't ask, why do we need this? It says, this is our next export, our new oil, and we will create it. Saudi Arabia is already hosting the world's largest cyber tournament today. Here, people play, watch, invest, create content, build studios, and sign brands from KFC to MasterCard, from Riot to ESA. Together with the True Gamers team, we conducted an in-depth study, and I will explain why right now is the perfect time to enter Saudi Arabia. Hello everyone, I'm Anton Vasilenko, 32, CEO, co-founder of INTL Cyber Club True Gamers. I build businesses moving the industry forward. I've done all steps from opening first locations to entering international markets and know how to turn ideas into infrastructure. Saudi Arabia is the largest economy in the world, with a GDP of over $1 trillion. That's a quarter of the entire region's gross product. The foundation is stable. The Saudi riyal is firmly pegged to the dollar at a rate of 3.75, and this has held for decades. Thanks to this, the entire economy feels confident. Inflation does not exceed 2 to 3% per year. Even after the pandemic and global logistics disruptions, inflation in 2022-2023 was 2.5%, and in 2024, 1.5%. Now about taxes. 0% income tax for individuals, 15% VAT, including on digital goods, and 20% profit tax for non-residents and foreign companies. 30 years of tax holidays for international companies opening a regional headquarters. This means gaming clubs, digital cafes, creative studios, and sports platforms. All of these can be opened in Saudi Arabia with minimal taxes and maximum predictability. The first thing you need to understand about Saudi Arabia is that the government takes the investment climate very seriously. The country ranks among the top 10 fastest reforming economies in the world, according to the World Bank Doing Business report. It is carrying out deregulation, lowering barriers for foreign investors, and introducing 100% foreign ownership in technology and entertainment sectors. Saudi Arabia is not just a stable market. It is an attractive environment for scaling up. Right now, Saudi Arabia is actively betting on esports as a key direction for development. It has developed Vision 2030, a government program in which gaming and digital entertainment are recognized as a strategic sector. The goal is to add $13.5 billion to the GDP and create 40,000 new jobs. And it's not just about gamers. We're talking about producers, managers, tournament organizers, developers, designers, marketers, and community managers. A full-fledged ecosystem. Just think about that. And this transformation began with a decision by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Saudi Arabia no longer wants to depend on oil. The country's leadership has determined that esports is a key factor in the economic diversification of the nation. Saudi Arabia is a country of youth. 70% of the population is under 30 years old. The median age is 29. This is a generation born into the digital world. According to forecasts, by 2030, the population will grow to 40 million. 85% of Saudi Arabia's residents live in cities. These cities are not just urbanized. They are already equipped with high-speed internet infrastructure, fiber optics, 5G, and data center. Internet penetration is 99%. 95% use smartphones. 98% go online every day. Most, more than 7 hours a day. And for the gaming and cyber club industry, this is the ideal profile. 84.7% access the internet from home. 72% do so on the go. Peak activity is from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m., which is exactly the prime time for cyber clubs and stream. Moreover, the population also earns very well. Look, the average salary is about $3,500 per month. Saudi citizens earn up to $4,000 or $5,000, and in the eastern province, households make up to $18,000 per month per family. Plus, there is no income tax. Expenses are mainly for housing and food. Everything else goes to technology and leisure. And what's most interesting is that 48% of gamers are women. This is a huge shift. Thanks to reforms, access to technology, and cultural changes, the female audience is one of the most active. They don't just play mobile games, they participate in tournaments, watch streams, and work in the industry. The gaming market in Saudi Arabia is not just a growing industry. It's a system that is scaling faster than in any other country in the region. In 2020, the market size was 1 billion. In 2024, it's 2.5. The forecast for 2030 is 6.8 billion. This is one of the fastest growing markets in the world. And most importantly, it's not just growth in dollars, it's growth in people. In 2023, there are 23 million gamers in the country. That's almost 70% of the entire population. And it's not just that they play from time to time. 21% play more than 7 hours a week, and on average, a player spends 1.6 hours a day gaming. Saudi Arabia ranks second in the world in terms of the amount of time spent on games daily. The average user spends 44 gigabytes of mobile data per month, and most of that is used for streaming and gaming. The mobile segment is the main one. 66% of all industry revenue comes from mobile platforms. 19.5 million people play on smartphones. Next are consoles, with 13.5 million people, followed by PC, with 13.5 million people. And what's especially important is monetization. 12% of mobile gamers in Saudi Arabia are so-called big spenders. For comparison, in Europe, it's only 4%. They actively donate, buy upgrades, passes, and cosmetic items. This means one thing: the market is not just massive, it's solvent and deeply engaged. And this brings us to the main point. Cyberclubs, what exists right now. In Saudi Arabia, there are standalone locations, local cafes, and a few halls in shopping malls. The market lacks a network model, branded spaces, a hybrid format, a unified standard approach to services, and an atmosphere where you want to hang out, stay, and spend money. Gamers are coming in with this model, but before us, nothing like this existed here. And at the same time, the demand itself is enormous. In cities like Riyadh, Jeddah, or Mecca, there is a high concentration of young people, developed transportation, high foot traffic in shopping malls, support for betting arenas, ready digital infrastructure, fiber optics, 5G, and data centers. The Cube is not just a place to access games, it's a center for culture, tournaments, and community. It's a place where people can gather, watch broadcasts, participate in championships, and launch studios. And in Saudi Arabia, there still isn't a dominant player who will build this. Now pay attention. Everything I'm describing isn't happening spontaneously. This process is being managed by the government. Saudi Arabia has included esports in its Vision 2030 strategy. Among the goals, in addition to 13.5 billion in GDP from the gaming sector and 39,000 new jobs, are having 250 gaming companies, more than 30 game titles that will make it into the global top 300 and reaching the top 3 countries in terms of the number of professional players per capita. This is overseen by Kavi Games Group, a state-owned holding company established with the support of the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund. The budget for the gaming holding is 38 billion. That's more than the entire annual budget of the gaming industry in some European countries. The holding's mission is to build a gaming ecosystem within Saudi Arabia, invest in studios, cyberclubs, tournaments, and streaming platforms, acquire stakes in global companies such as Nintendo, Capcom, Embracer, and others, and organize the world's largest esports events, for example, Gamers 8 and the Sports World Cup. And this isn't just support, it's active participation. And most importantly, the entire structure is being built in the interests of youth, business, and the community. Saudi Arabia is not just building. Saudi is already demonstrating how to host a festival like Gamers 8 in Riyadh in 2023, with a prize pool of $45 million. In 2024, the Esports World Cup. In 2027, Saudi Arabia will host the first Olympic Games for esports. This means only one thing: games have become a new kind of sport. And Saudi Arabia is the center of this scene. Saudi Arabia is no longer just buying games, it has started creating them. If in 2015 there were only 2 or 3 studios in the country, by 2024 there are more than 100. Local games include the Arabic language, cultural features, storylines, and heroes. Development is also becoming an entry point for women and students. Many startups have female founders, and the proportion of women in game development has grown to 32%. This makes gaming not only a profitable, but also an inclusive industry. Gaming in Saudi Arabia is no longer just an industry, it is an advertising channel, a media space, and a platform for brands. At the Esports World Cup 2024, there are 27 official partners. At Gamers 8 in 2023, sponsors of all levels were present, from energy drink companies to airlines. Brand investments are growing at double-digit rates. The average cost of an advertising asset at a cyber event is already comparable to TV advertising. Saudi Arabia is creating a strong platform, but there are also risks, and it is important to understand them. The first risk is that the local market is still quite young. There is a very small number of senior-level staff, so it is necessary to build up the team by bringing in international partners and expats. Second, bureaucracy is easing, but it still exists, especially when it comes to visa issues. Third, content regulation. Some games, such as GTA and Cyberpunk, have been completely banned. Games must comply with cultural standards. Fourth, it is necessary to generate demand for content from local studios. Today, players are focused on global hits, so it is important to adapt their marketing. Fifth, the esports model requires financial sustainability. Currently, tournament revenue depends on EPIF sponsorship, but a self-funded model is already developing. Platforms, schools, merchandise, custom content, and arena rentals. Sixth is the global pressure on image. State involvement draws criticism in the West. Some believe Saudi Arabia is trying to whitewash its image through sports, but it must be acknowledged that this wave is already subsiding. Most top teams are now happily participating in the Esports World Cup. Conclusion: there are risks, but they are manageable, and the growth potential is enormous. Those who enter first gain incomparably more positions than those who wait a couple of years. Saudi Arabia is not just a market, it is an entry point into the architecture of the future digital economy. What do you get? Millions of solvent users, full government support, subsidies, zero taxation, grants and PR, and access to the world's largest esports events. A market where there are still no networked cyber clubs, and a place where your club can become the focal point around which the entire district gathers. Until 2027, this window of opportunity remains open. After that, the market will be overheated, crowded, and expensive. That's exactly why True Gamers is entering Saudi Arabia this year. With us, it's not just businessmen, but the very architects who think in terms of ecosystems, not just small shops. If you're one of them, join us by purchasing a franchise or investing in the corporate network. We'll support you at every step in this promising market and do everything to ensure the company not only enters Saudi Arabia, but also establishes itself and scales up. There's only one question. Will you build this with us, or will you just watch from the sidelines? And if you want more analyses like this, subscribe to the channel and don't forget to like this video. Later.